Good morning, Premier. Steve Cornwell here from the Trillium.
Hi, Steve.
Last year, there was a bit of a controversy around the appointment of judges, and you specified there was going to be a certain criteria for new appointments that the province would make for judges. Today, can you kind of clarify what that criteria is? What exactly are you looking for in new judges to kind of handle the crisis, I guess, that's being outlined here today?
Yeah, again, before I pass it to the Attorney General, you know, I'm just, there's so many great judges, first of all, and there's great JPs. I'm a strong believer in our judicial system, but it's out of control now. Like, you see these criminals getting out on bail, not once or twice, 4 or 5 times, and going out and committing heinous crimes. There's a story that someone was out on bail 5 times and went and killed a young lady. You know, this is absolutely ridiculous how these judges keep letting people out over and over and over again. I'm just done with it. We're going to hire tough on crime judges, tough on crime JPs to make sure that they follow the law and keep these people in jail because they're just being released. You could go in and kick in a door, put a gun to someone's head with kids in the house, terrorize that house, and guess what? By the time they get arrested and get out, it's the next day. And then they start mocking our police in the back of the police car. Don't worry, I'll be out by the time you start your shift. And what happens? They're out before they get, before they come back on duty. The system is broken, and there's a lot of terrible, terrible bleeding heart judges out there. You know something? If it happened to them, they might take a different look at it. And that's not a knock against all the judges, because there's good, qualified judges. We have great chief justices. Matter of fact, probably the best in the country. But the system's broken. And once these judges get into their position, they have this sense of entitlement. That's what drives me crazy. We were democratically elected as a government, and I always say the legislature is supreme, meaning the people are supreme. When you get a mandate to do something, you can't have judges constantly overruling the government. Or I have an idea. And then again, I'm going to emphasize, not all the judges. I've said it 3 times. But why don't we have the next election, the PC party, the Liberal Party, the NDP party, the Green Party, and the Judges Party? Because they overturn everything, right down to the bike lanes. So, we get democratically elected, and some judge slaps an injunction on bike lanes. Don't the judges have anything better to do than worry about if we're taking out bike lanes or not taking out bike lanes? One judge says, yeah, not a problem. The next judge, not because of law, because of their ideology. Their ideology is thinking, well, maybe we shouldn't take out the bike lanes. What right do they have, an unelected, politically appointed judges, determining our budgets? Because of the decisions the judges have made in the past have cost us $10 billion. And we ran on a mandate. We got elected democratically. Last time I checked, there hasn't been any judges elected. Maybe that's the problem. We should do what the U.S. does. Let's start electing our judges, holding them accountable. And that's my rant for the day, because I've just had it. We get elected to move forward, and some judge, because of the ideology, decides, well, let's put an injunction on bike lanes. You got to be kidding me. The system is broken. And I apologize to all the great judges, all the great JPs, but the system is broken, and we have to change the system. Over to you, Attorney General. Sorry, it made me feel better. I've been meaning to get this off my shoulders for 7 years.
You should see what he says in private. Thank you, Premier. Look, the question is what sort of criteria are we looking for? We're looking for people who understand community, who understand what's going on in the community, who understand the frustration that individuals in the community are feeling when they're on the victimization side. We are hearing from people, as politicians we hear from people, who are afraid in their own driveways. And that is not acceptable. We need judges who will take the law, apply the law, understand where community sentiment is at. I think that's an important piece of the puzzle. So when I review judicial applications, when they come out of the independent committee that recommends, if they don't recommend them, I don't know who they are. They never come to me. But if they're recommended and I look at the application and I review, I'm looking for somebody who is going to enforce community standards. I'm looking for somebody who understands community and somebody who will, quite frankly, help protect our communities. And that can come in a number of different ways. It can come from previous life experience. It can come from different backgrounds. I'm really proud of the judicial appointments that we've made to date, but we have more work to do, and I hope to be able to talk more about it in the coming days. Thank you.
Just to follow up then on the judge's questionnaire, Premier Ford, are you you put a lot out there. Are you supportive, for example, of having a system where judges are elected as opposed to appointed? It seems like you're talking about some big changes here.
So what I'm for judges keeping people in jail that commit crimes. I'm for judges that don't give bail 4, 5, 6 times for a guy to get out and murder someone. An innocent girl gets murdered over people out on bail and being their doors kicked in. It's unheard of. We always talk about the crime in the U.S. That pales compared to what's happening here. Cars are being stolen. People are flying in from other countries. They have a list for 2 weeks, and they commit all these crimes, hop on the plane, and then leave. These are the problems we're facing here. But again, enough is enough. The party's over. These people have to stay in jail. And I'm going to be all over the federal government about bail reform, mandatory sentencing, to make sure they give the judges the tools. Matter of fact, the judges have the tools right now. They just don't want to use them. Simple as that. You want to keep a violent criminal in jail, you'll keep them in jail. They just don't want to keep them in jail. Little Johnny was a good little boy. He goes to church every Sunday. Let's let him out for the 6th time to go kick someone's door in and put guns to people's heads, terrorize neighborhoods, go into stores, put guns to people's head. It's done. These people have to be in jail, and they need to be in jail for a long time, and there has to be more accountability.
Hi, Premier. Jayden from Global News. Obviously something you're very passionate about. You even addressed bail reform to your open letter to newly elected Prime Minister Mark Carney. Have you spoken to the Prime Minister since that letter? Have you gotten his attention? If you have, is that something that was addressed when you guys spoke?
Yeah, I spoke to him yesterday, but it's all the premiers. This is a second letter now to the federal government. You know, I got to give a shout out to Wab Canoe. He's sending another letter as well, the Premier of Manitoba. The guy's an absolute champion. And all the premiers have signed off on it. When I did it the first time, usually it takes, a week, 2 weeks to get a consensus. I made 12 other phone calls to all the premiers. Every single one of them said, we're in, we're in, we're in. It didn't matter what political stripe. And we have all 3 political colors as premiers. But they all agree in one thing: let's stop the crime. And this falls this falls on the lap of the federal government. They do the criminal code. I have an idea. The federal government, let us do the criminal code. And I'll guarantee you, tomorrow, once we have a criminal code, then bang, this will stop immediately. And we'll be building more jails. We're already building jails, but we'll be building more jails because these guys are going to be in jail. And they're going to think twice about going and robbing someone when they know the sentence is going to be 5 to 10 years in maximum security prison. Watch how quickly it stops.
So it sounds like you're kind of lost confidence in the federal government. How confident are you that this new government will do something about bail reform?
Well, I'm confident that hopefully the new Prime Minister, unlike the previous Prime Minister, didn't want to do anything. The new Prime Minister, I have confidence that he believes in keeping communities safe, which I know he believes in that. And I'm sure he believes in keeping criminals in jail. So let's see what happens. But again, I'll be on them like an 800-pound gorilla, like I've never been on them before. Because people are fed up. They're done with us.